You can. Yeah.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Bailey?
Here.
Mr. Bateman?
Here.
Mr. Goodyear?
Here.
Mr. Hart?
Here.
Mr. Ori?
Here.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Here.
Mr. Ping?
Here.
Hello, everyone. With us tonight, we have our Assistant City Manager, Chris Weinich, Director of Finance, Mark Medler, Clerk of Council, Misty Clark, City Manager, Dave Kennedy, City Solicitor, Joe Braun, Captain Gangwer, Chief Gabrielson is here. We also have Officer Taylor and Officer Sproul, and Lieutenants Humphrey and Corbett are here from our police department. And let's see, former council members, Kent Blair and Todd Osborne. Is that everyone, I think? So welcome, everyone. So I guess let's first do we're going to go out of order a little bit, Chief. We're going to start with the Citizen Award presentation.
Right over here. So this evening, we have the pleasure of awarding a commendation to a Loveland citizen, Mr. Eckert. And we give an award of commendation. It's issued by the department for actions that represent superior handling of a difficult situation. Members or citizens who receive the award will present an official letter or certificate describing the award and action. So, since we have it in policy, and I will read the Citizen Award. To Mr. Eckert, on January 29th of 2024, while working from your home office, you noticed a white Mercedes SUV pull up to the mailbox of your residence in the city of Loveland. You observed a male occupant exit the passenger side of the vehicle, approach your mailbox, and remove outgoing mail. You then observed the individual quickly run back to the Mercedes, re-enter the vehicle, and flee from the scene. You immediately contacted Northeast Communications Center and provided a detailed description of the suspect vehicle and the direction it was last seen traveling when it fled your neighborhood. Due to your swift action, members of the Loveland Police Department were able to quickly intercede and locate the suspect vehicle just a few blocks away. Through the investigation, 2 individuals were apprehended. It was learned these individuals had traveled to Loveland from Atlanta, Georgia, as part of an organized criminal organization. In addition to the multitude of newly stolen mail from several residents in Loveland, the suspects were found in possession of numerous stolen checks obtained through similar means from other areas of Ohio, Texas, and Missouri. In addition to these checks, Loveland officers found fraudulent created checks made from information gathered from other victims. These suspects were successfully charged with several Ohio felonies and will likely face additional charges from the United States Postal Inspection Service. Your steadfast attention to your surroundings and willingness to report your observations in a timely manner undoubtedly saved numerous citizens of multiple jurisdictions from suffering significant financial loss, adverse effects on their credit, and having their identity stolen. Law enforcement is rarely able to apprehend suspects engaged in this type of criminal activity due to the mobility and ability of suspects to flee the affected area. On behalf of the citizens of Loveland, the Loveland Police Department wishes to commend you on outstanding service to our community.
Thank you.
This is a very small token of our appreciation. You are only the 3rd person. We just got these in. 3rd person to receive this. We just have a small tumbler with our badge on it.
Excellent.
So please enjoy that with whatever beverage you would choose to put in there.
Well, thank you. I will just say a couple of words. Thank you. I'm honored to receive this. Very nice. But all I did, I was so upset. I saw these guys grab my mail, and it had some confidential information of employees that work for the company I'm with. And I was very concerned. They'd have social security numbers, that type of thing. And I immediately called 911. I said, I was rushing to get off the phone. So I said, I want to finish. I want to go after them. She said, no, you don't go anywhere. Let the police do their job. The police did their job. Thank you. Thank you.
Keith, do you want to do a picture?
Do you want a picture?
Does our yeah? you can do a
Absolutely.
picture.
All right.
Set it down.
We'll have you
Should I
hold
hold
this. We'll go up here and get.
So was it outgoing mail or in? Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure I know it happened to me too. About that same time.
Come on right here. Mr. Eckert. Yep. You're right in the middle.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council, City Manager Kennedy, other guests and appropriate people. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'd like to start by thanking all of you for your support of this police department. I think I can speak for every member that it is more than greatly appreciated. It is recognized, and it means an awful lot to us. There are a lot of jurisdictions where a person in my position would not be able to say that. And it's one less thing that the officers who go out there and sacrifice every day, who try and do the best they can to serve and protect the public, it just makes it a little bit easier. But I think there's a benefit on the other side too, as we have several members here tonight, as you know. I can personally vouch for them and every member, every man and woman in our department, that the amount of pride that they take with their job every day, their efforts to make this a very safe community and to serve their public is unwavering as well. So I want to thank them. Currently in the United States, there are 800,000 officers that serve federal, state, local, county. And their responsibility is to serve some 350 million people, to protect them, to provide every innumerable types of service that you can think of, much different from years past, and it grows every day. Those numbers aren't exactly fair on our side of the ball game. 80% of that 800,000 comes from small cities, towns, and rural jurisdictions, not the big cities. So again, support that we get from people like you, this group, this administration means everything to us. This week is National Police Week, which is extremely important to all of us. For every man and woman who's ever put on the badge, who's went out there. When while protect and serve is very important, going home is even more. We use this week to honor the current, the previous, and especially the fallen, who have sacrificed sometimes themselves, their families, to do the right thing that very few people want to do. It culminates tomorrow on the 15th at the National Memorial, where thousands and thousands of officers will be there to honor those that died in the line of service and those that currently serve and those that have served before. The first in line of duty death known happened all the way back in 1786. And since that time, over 24,000 officers have lost their lives. Their names are inscribed in the National Memorial, and we use this week to honor them. Just this past weekend, Mother's Day, a Euclid, Ohio officer named Jacob Durbin lost his life while answering a disturbance call when he was ambushed while at that call. He was 23 years old, and he had served all of 10 months. These mourning bands that we have on our badges tonight honor people like him who gave the ultimate sacrifice for his community, and those that are currently serving who continue to hopefully not give the ultimate sacrifice, but sacrifice their lives every day to try and make their communities better. I want to thank you again for your support, because without it, there wouldn't be us. And without us, there'd be a very dark place in this country. So thank you very much.
Well, I do, I think speak for all of our council. We do very much appreciate our officers. You know that, and the department, and I think our community does as well. We have a outstanding police department, thanks to the outstanding men and women that make up our police department. So, when I heard that about Officer Durbin over the weekend, I thought, I don't know how big Euclid is, but it's not a big city I've heard of. It can happen in any community, and God forbid it happens here, but our officers know that every day and still go out and do their jobs just to protect us. So we are very grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for everything that you do. I have a proclamation. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Loveland Police Department. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, there are currently 24,067 law enforcement officers in the United States that have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. And whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., and whereas 282 new names of fallen heroes were added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including 118 officers killed in 2023 and 164 officers killed in previous years. And whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty were honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 36th Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2024. And whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of National Police Week, which will be observed May 10th through May 16th. And whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day, in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and the U.S. flag should be flown at half-staff. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Bailey, by the power vested in me as Mayor of the City of Loveland, and on behalf of City Council and residents, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, May 15th, 2024 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and May 10th through the 16th, 2024 as National Police Week in the City of Loveland, and publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. Photo op, but we think we'd like to do one so that we can get the word out what this week is, put it on our social media. So all four of you join us, please.
Just stay behind. You want back here?
We'll make room.
Okay.
Officer Taylor does that. Going to Lady Froston. You're really squeezed.
Touch each other. Just for a second.
Good? Okay, all right.
Yeah, you got mud splattered all over.
It's buddy down to the bottom.
Yeah, about it.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have Lisa Freeman, and is Dan Timmerman going to join you?
Good evening, Council. I'm Lisa Freeman. As chairperson of the Loveland Recreation Board, it is my privilege to present the Stanton Boyd Senior Community Service Award. recreation, park, and environmental activities that benefit the city of London and its residents. This year's recipient has worked for more than 15 years with the London Youth Baseball Organization in every way imaginable. Coaching, league director, vice president of travel baseball, vice president of umpires, just to name a few. He has coached more than 75 seasons of youth and high school sports. He has also collaborated with the city to better our baseball fields with a focus at Phillips and Wood Parks. When he wasn't volunteering with the city, he was volunteering with the city of London. He has stepped up to coach when a coach wasn't present, even when none of his 4 children were on the team. I'd like to quote from his nomination form. Guys like Tim are what makes this such a special community. He will probably be too embarrassed to receive this award, which is why he deserves it. Please join me and the Recreation Board in congratulating 2024 Stanley Boy Senior Community Service Award to Mr. Ron Stone.
I'm not sure if I need to say anything, but I think we do at the end. I thought it was clear to talk about fields. So I appreciate that. It's interesting. I'm in this room because it started, I think, when my oldest had just graduated from Ohio State, maybe 4, and James was soccer here. He wrote me into coaching there, and then maybe a year or 2 later, with my son, that's in college, one of my sons is in college, came here for a love of youth baseball meetings. You were on the board back then, right? Yeah, kind of wrote about that, and then same thing happened in St. Columbia and all that stuff. So what's happened since? Yeah, I enjoy everything in the city that the city offers, and working with I do quite a bit. John knows with your guys' city crew as far as moving dirt, building mountains, and all that stuff. Which is something really cool. Other than that, I'm kind of shocked and not unprepared. I greatly appreciate it. Couldn't do anything with my CB guys here, Josh. Same thing was sweat, tears, and beers, with working on the fields, working fields, and all that stuff. Mike's taking over from Matt Caps again, which you guys are familiar with, to kind of forge on love and youth baseball. He goes down forever, and Eric Walter over here, Tim was our treasurer, coach his sons, coach pretty much all their sons. It's great to share this with them, but I appreciate it.
Let's get a picture. And Lisa, and you be in the picture.
I think my wife thinks I'm at work, so I'm not sure. go over, it's rain, that's fun. That means we go to taxis here 4 rounds of drinks.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Oh, I'm glad my grandma's maiden name is Meltzer too, so right here. My great grandpa owned the building right there.
Quick history lesson.
Yeah.
True. Oh. It's pretty, you can tell you're riding bikes. Oh, well. What are you going to do, right?
I'm kind of throw a brain to take care of it. It's not that bad. It's kind of bad.
Well, you had a mountain bike halfway over.
I I've taken the opportunity to just check out the.
All right, so next we have the Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony. I know we have Ben Parker and Adam Jaranek from our Veterans Commission. Ben Parker has Barbies in his hand. Okay.
I'd like to formally invite the City Council around 11 elementary schools in Minnesota. Immediately following the parade ceremony, we hope to every 2% of lunch donations free. This year, our guest speaker is Colonel J. Scott Collier from Collier Grade High School. One career U.S. Air Force Medical Service. Serving on this during his service, he received municipal grade. Following the ceremony, we will have the secretary visit the English secretary at 11:15 a.m. and then the community secretary finally the service secretary at 12:30 p.m. Community is advised to commitment at the American Plus 256 across the street from St. Clement at 2 p.m. That's it. Thank you for your time. We're excited to serve you.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? The commission puts on a very nice program, and I think again there's a flyover scheduled. Correct? That's what I've been told. So I don't know how many years in a row that is, but that's pretty impressive. So thank you for putting it together. Of course, we appreciate it. All right, thank you. Okay, next open forum is Ann Cox.
Madam Mayor, Council, my name is Ann Fox, and I am the librarian at the Local Public Library in Cincinnati County Public Library. It's a branch that is right across the street from the public library school. And I am here this evening to talk about our summer reading program, to raise awareness about that program. It takes place June 1st through July 31st. It is raised year after year, 8 years. And the goals are to give youth the opportunity to practice their reading skills over the summer and to help library staff strengthen their relationships with youth and families through enjoyable experiences at the library. So over the summer, any youth and share a place to the library and sign up for the program. When they sign up, they get a free lunch. They do not have to return it to the library. Get 2 free registration vouchers, and they get free kids meal with nutrition. They get a coupon for that. And over the course of the summer, we are asking them to read 20 minutes per day for 25 days. They will have a challenge board. That challenge explained to them. Once they return to the library, when they have completed their challenge, they can pick out a prize. That is for ages 0 through 12. For teens, so 13 through 18, we have a bingo style board where they complete 5 longer challenges. Most of them are themed, most have a certain genre, like read a historical fiction book, read your graphic novel. And once they complete 5 in a row on the board, they can come and complete a prize. And if they want to read even more, then please and come back for bonus challenges. We got more prizes. We signed up over 700 youth last year, so hopefully more this year. We also work with community partners. We work with NEST once a week. We visit the apartment buildings. They visit to provide free lunch, and we do the program with the kids there, looking at the library. We also work with Champions of Loveland, the summer camp that is run at Loveland Primary School. During the program, they are not able to make it to the library. And we are having a lot of exciting programs that is part of summer reading. Makerspace programs where kids can come in and learn how to use makerspace in our library. The Cincinnati Art Museum is doing programming, as well as the Cincinnati Ballet. With astronomers having doing programming. We also have CSI science program this summer, so lots of opportunities for kids to come in and learn and have fun. That is all.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right, now we have review and approval of minutes from the April 23rd, 2024 meeting. Are there any changes or addition to those minutes?
Move to approve as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bateman,
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Mr. Ori,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps,
Yes.
Mr. Ping,
Yes.
Mayor Bailey.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Mr. Kennedy?
So, as council knows, when we began the parking lot project, the new downtown parking lot project in early March this year, we entered into that contract knowing that we still needed to work on improvements for an access point off of State Route 48. It was not included in the bid package, but we were sort of under the gun for a couple reasons. One, because trees had to be removed on March 31st, or the whole entire project would have sat stagnant until the end of October. That project is being funded by two different grant agencies. One that was given to the city in 2019 and one that was given in 2020. Both had granted the city multiple extensions, and there was a desire to get this project moving. But I will say that we never actually ever quit trying to come up with an idea to improve the access point, which was very complicated because on the east side of 48, the availability right away is zero. We only could go into the parking lot area, and of course to the south, we were restricted by the railroad crossing point. So we actually ended up going separately out to our traffic engineer, TEC, who ended up coming up with an idea. And actually, he originally called it a bubble. And that was that, and I can't do this without using my hands, but basically by moving the southbound traffic, which is largely our Warren County community, slightly westward into the parking area, conversely, what that creates is a center turn lane that gets traffic coming northbound on 48, turning into the parking area, the ability to get out of the flow of traffic. So northbound traffic not turning into the parking lot can continue. So that design that we went over with, Chris jumped in on it too when he came into the city. It kept getting more and more of a possibility. We, as soon as it looked like it was a real possibility, we asked the contractor to stop all activities out there. I will tell you right now, there is a section of sidewalk about the half the distance of this table that will be removed, but the net gain is still considerable. We then transferred the bubble, which slowly became more of a kneecap, into McGill Smith Punch, and they, at some point, we handed it off to them, and that they then intermingled it into the entire parking lot, into the entire parking lot design, and did it without removing any parking spaces. Largely was able to do it with only a slight reduction in the landscaping on the south side of the main entryway into the parking lot from 48. But with that, there was new guardrail, there was new sidewalks, there was new curbing, there was a catch basin, obviously significant pavement markings, everything to bring it to complete and total code. So when you are there, you will know where you're going and what you're doing. And I think that at the end of the day, thanks to TEC and McGill Smith Punch-In, we ended up with something that will, when completed, because it will be completed as part of the parking lot, will look like it was always part of the original plan. And I would argue that worst case scenario, this would have been a standalone project at a later date. I would say that by being able to get this done now as part of this project, I would argue to a certain extent we're saving money. You have crews mobilized, you have crews there that understand the project, that can easily implement this turn lane into the project. So with that, I really do think that at the end of the day, thanks to TEC and McGill Smith Punch-In, I think we have something that is really going to work. Should be able to handle 2 cars. Based on all the traffic flows, we don't anticipate there will ever be more of a backup than 2 cars because of the outside of maybe very, very early in the morning. But when you take this turn lane countered with the turn lane that was added at the mobile station, it all works in sort of a harmony that this will be very effective. It'll also be effective for emergency vehicles that may choose to come in using this access point. So that being said, I actually have two change orders in front of you. One is for the turn lane, change orders through DJ Drew. It includes all of the items I just mentioned. And then also we had an issue with the fill material that was removed. This is just this is basically a fairness thing. That project was bid based on geotechnical surveys as clean dirt fill that can be used. Everybody who bid on it had an end plan for it. It was going somewhere. This project would have been hundreds of thousands of dollars more. Would have, you could tell those who had an end plan who actually may be receiving payment for delivery of the dirt to various sites versus those that didn't and weren't sure where they were going to do it. Because if you go back to when we bid this project out, remember there was a significant range. So what ended up happening was 400 tons of what is largely foundations, mostly foundations, slabs, material Neil probably knows better than anybody. That is not fill. That every 400 and 800 and 1,000 pounds had to go to a completely different site. I purposely included, as much as we try to keep the council packet somewhat slim, I thought it was important to show you all the material that came with that change order to give you an idea, not only what was involved, but the lift tickets and all of the information that clearly proved that these people, the contractor, faced a pretty significant, amount of money up and above what was bid. Fairness is fairness, and that's how the city does business with contractors. And I like to think that's why we get good bids on projects. The right thing to do was to cover the change order for that expense, so that's included in this. So where does that hit us financially? I included a spreadsheet for you all. This was just something Chris and I used as a guide as everything sort of came in. So the contract for the parking lot was $1,266,756. Council, as it often does, bid to the total budget amount of $1,300,000. That allowed $33,244 for administrative change orders. Basically, I am permitted to do change orders for under 15 to keep the project moving. I did 2 of those that were under 15. The city's share at the beginning was $168,000, which is only 11% of the total project cost. After you factor in the 2 change orders that we've already completed and the 2 change orders over, I'm going over the $33,244. So what we're asking on behalf that's also included in this resolution is both change orders, but also a transfer of $95,000. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize, which is almost as exciting as the parking lot, is what the city will be doing here at the City Hall parking lot with the sidewalks, the creation of central access points at Harrison. No more walking down the center of Railroad as you're going to Paxton's or to a restaurant or Ramsey's or anything. No more big Ram trucks sticking so far out in Railroad you're driving around them, because we will be bringing the grid of the city's street grid down Railroad Avenue. All roads lead to what is now a wider Harrison. We think we're going to see, once the West Loveland Bridge project's over, more people wanting to make that left, because that's going to be a more desirable Carl Brown to Harrison way to get into downtown. So that is all part of this project. This is give more access points into downtown. I know people think that I talk about this ad nauseum, but traffic in a city like Loveland, X percentage of it is due to people looking for parking spaces. If you don't have everyone turning left at Paxton's, you're giving them a great opportunity for Warren and Claremont to come in off of 48. You've now made the Carl Brown Harrison an even more easier, desirable way to go. I think there will be a net improvement. It's just getting clustered with a few other things. So at the end of the day, that particular project had a budget of $300,000, the City Hall parking lot. It came in at $205,000. If you recall, City Council added that to the road program. I'm not saying we just have $95,000 to spend, but what better use for that surplus funding than to transfer it to the parking lot? cover all of these change orders. I don't anticipate, outside of the small stairwell that we owe the backside of the rail car, because we removed it for their emergency fire escape. Outside of that, we don't anticipate any change orders. Things are going to start happening really quick. The conduit vehicle, the equipment putting in the conduit for the Duke lighting showed up today. You'll start, once that's complete, you'll start to see the gravel base, the road base, and the whole project will wrap up outside of the Duke lighting. So that's why that was included over. It also gives Mark the ability to transfer the $95,000 surplus funds into towards the parking lot. And I think that's all I have on that. Take any any questions council may have.
Any questions or comments? Vice Mayor?
Two questions. When do you anticipate the parking lot will open?
I think it will be open for parking by sometime near the end of May. There won't be lighting. Now we have a light on First Street near the McCoy property. That will light that up pretty well. If we need to add another temporary light, so be it. It is what it is. Going with Duke was the right option, but with that we're waiting till July, but hopefully sometime in late May.
Great. Second question is the entryway to the parking lot, the turn lane. Any pushback from the state on that? I assume it's all approved.
We don't have. I'm not trying to be that guy, but we're a municipality.
We control.
So if this was a township, there would be different. We may send them a courtesy, but that is full. The city has to maintain it. We're responsible for State Route 48. We're responsible for the sidewalks. I'm probably let them know, but no, we don't need any formal approval from ODOT for the turn lane.
Okay, because if I'm looking at that diagram, is that like a teardrop of concrete?
Yeah,
that makes that lane.
Yeah, that will be. Yeah, there'll be curbing and road striping. Again, it sort of went from literally. I'm joking about it, but it did. It went from a bubble to a kneecap.
Okay.
It was much more pronounced because of a little juggling here and there. It became more of a kneecap, and southbound traffic will barely realize what they're doing. But by doing that, this is created. So, Councilmember Goodyear, on his way into work, will make, he'd be a perfect example of someone that will commonly do that.
Oh, use the kneecap.
So I really do think it is, but Councilmember Phelps, I appreciate it. We'll give them a heads up about the turn lane. But technically, part of the fact that we were responsible, we do its best. And believe me, ODOT would prefer this over any potential backing up into a railroad crossing. So they would have probably encouraged it. So,
Mr. Ori.
Yeah, so Dave, I just wanted to thank you. The description that you gave us and all the pictures, this was a no-brainer. I mean, you made it so easy for us to make a decision before you even talked about it tonight.
Before I rambled.
Just thank you for doing that. Nice job.
Any other comments? Yes, Mr. Goodyear.
Actually, I also want to thank Mr. Kennedy because I know I asked about this in an earlier meeting. I know some people that were asking me about it and concerned about it. And Mr. Kennedy, a month or two ago when we discussed this, made a commitment that this would be resolved prior to the parking lot opening. And obviously it's going to be resolved in a way that appears it's going to take care of any of the issues that were a concern. So the perseverance on the part of Mr. Kennedy and the staff to get this taken care of before the opening, I just want to say I really appreciate that.
Mr. Ping?
Yeah, just a point of clarification to Mr. Phelps' question. When you said there's curbs on this, you were talking about curbs at the side of the road.
Yeah,
not
at the entry.
I think Mr. Phelps was asking about which is just painted in the middle.
I'm sorry. No, those are I'm sorry, Councilman Phelps. No, there's no curbing out in the roadway. It's the curbing had to be modified into the entryway to push back for the kneecap. So that was the curbing that goes in at the entryway. So,
thank you.
You're right. Thanks.
It's a painted kneecap.
Thank you. I didn't fully understand what he was asking.
If anybody says that word one more time.
Count.
Word?
No word. Don't
Would you
even
describe
think
this
about
as
it.
a-
Mr. Bateman.
I wasn't going to say anything. I just wanted to
tag on to what Mr. Goodyear was saying. I think that I was a little concerned that this wasn't part of the original design. So it's great to see that it's essentially tapped on as if it were part of the original design before the project is existing. So I think that's a great solution. You mentioned, Mr. Kennedy, how at the end of the day, while this is a big infrastructure parking, where cars will be stationary, in a lot of ways it's part of a larger connectivity program. And so to have not had that turn lane would have been a limiting factor in the connectivity of and the flow of traffic. So I think it really helps to establish that, sort like you said, with the other turn lane going on to Loveland Avenue, there is sort of a synchronicity there and sort of a yin yang. Looks great. So glad we can do it without that we have the autonomy to do it. Glad that we were able to do it within the scope of the ongoing project as opposed to after the fact. So again, thanks for bringing it to us at an opportune time.
Any other comments, Mr. Hart?
I just want to highlight and underscore something about the change order in terms of making sure we're doing right by this company that had to remove things that were not in the original contract, and I think they were bidding on something that was not necessarily there. I don't think anything was done intentionally, but making it right and doing business the right way is, I believe you are absolutely correct, and that's why we continue to get little gimmies here and there from companies when they'll throw in a little extra thing here and there for us because we do right by people here, and that's a credit to you and office the way you do your business. But that's really important. It's really important we treat companies right, we treat contractors right that come in and do good work, because we do hold them accountable. We do want quality work, and if you're going to ask for quality, you have to treat people like they're quality professionals. So I appreciate that as I'm overlooking that.
I'll be honest with you, that is some of my own responsibility, because when we removed those structures after we purchased the property, when I think back on it, we may have left some of the material that was in there was actually our responsibility. And last, I just want to one add thing. I just want to say, having an engineer 20 feet away who you can bounce this stuff off. Chris was very helpful in having an engineer so close to help look at this kneecap 5 times. And I mean, I'm just saying it. That is a part of the team that we have.
6.
So I just want to say that it's very helpful to have someone you can sit there and go, is this even really feasible? Can we actually do this? So that was really appreciate Chris being able to jump.
Can you actually make a kneecap?
Yeah. So there.
Okay. Anyone else? I think that's everyone.
Yep.
Let's read the resolution.
Resolution authorizing the execution of a change order with DJ Drew Company, LLC, and allocate additional funding for the downtown parking lot project.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Resolution 39 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Mr. Medler.
Thank you, Mayor. Every year, the City of Loveland is required to put together what is called a tax budget and submit it to Hamilton County in July. So the tax budget is pretty general. It's not in as much detail as our general operating budget, but it does help us get an idea of what resources we'll have for the next year, which we're already thinking about 2025. Moving right along. So, to do this, staff's going to do a lot of time to put their estimates together and get a preliminary budget, and we need to have a public hearing for that. So I'm here to suggest that we have a public hearing on June 25th, 2024 at or about 7 p.m. to receive comments regarding the 2025 tax budget.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Medler? Someone care to make a motion consistent with his request?
I'll move to set a tax budget public hearing for June 25th, 2024 at the hour of 7 p.m.
Second.
All right. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, as far as city council reports, the O'Bannon Creek Bridge, which is our beautiful new ODNR bridge over the bike trail, the ribbon cutting will be on Wednesday, next Wednesday, May 22nd at 11:30 a.m. Everyone is welcome. Our governor will be here supposedly, correct? So he says. I think that's all. Is there any other announcements? Does anybody else have any reports? All right, then we need a motion to go into executive session.
I'll move to enter into executive session under Ohio Revised Code 121.238 to consider negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance, which is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant, or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with the economic development project that is related to a request for economic development assistance.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ori?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Are we ready? It's already on? We're on. We're live, so we need a motion to adjourn.
People want to hear more about Beacon.
Move to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Phelps.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mayor Bailey.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Mr. Ori.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Good Lord.